Hello all my beautiful sisters from those other misters, welcome back to my channel. Today I am ranking all of my 2022 purchases from worst to best. Now I've ranked them kind of based on a few factors, whether it is simply a bad product, something that I probably should have held off buying for a bit longer, or I just get zero use out of it. I haven't really ranked these products based on quality. Some of them I kind of have, which is, it's put them into a slightly higher spot than other items, but for the most part I'm basing this based on what was a smart purchase for me and how often I use them, and also like how bad they turned out. So let's start. I am going to start with the worst things. These are the things that I decluttered and I no longer own. The Maybelline Lash Sensational Sky High Mascara. I hated that. This is why I kind of have stopped watching most beauty content that's like reviewing new products, because it is so easy to get caught up in the hype of people being like, oh my god, this product's amazing, it's changing my life, it's so good. And look, I've been guilty of doing that as well, so who am I to talk? But I bought this product based on hype and I hated it. It just did nothing for me, so I decluttered it. The next item was it was a part of like a little haul I did from Born Pretty. It was the nail dip system. I really want to try out a nail dip system, and I will in the future. And usually when I'm buying sort of trending nail products, or I want to like test something out before I go into like buying high quality products, I will go to like a cheaper alternative like Born Pretty. I might just close my door because that wind is just nuts today. I don't like to close my door when I'm filming because the dog likes to come and visit me and I think it's really cute. Is it now raining? Whatever, let's continue. So I purchased this dip system from Born Pretty, and I would have tried it and tested it out, but I couldn't get the caps off them. They had the bottles of like the fluids that you use throughout the process of doing the dip system. They had these plastic stoppers in them, and you had to remove the plastic stoppers and then put the lids on with the brushes. I couldn't get the plastic stoppers off, and I was just like, you know what? This is not fucking worth it. Not worth it. I just decluttered it. I was like, no ma'am, I'm not interested. Let's move on to the products that I have, again starting with what I consider some of my worst purchases. This is the Sigma Switch. Mine is covered in dog hair. I have used this once to test it out and it works to a degree, but since then I've not touched it. I've just allowed it to gather dog hair. Somehow, how is it gathering dog hair when it's been in my wardrobe, in my like tub of dirty brushes to be washed? I don't know, but it has. German Shepherd life. I don't think this is necessarily a bad product, and I think there would be a lot of people who would love this and find it quite useful in their life, but I'm not one of those people. I spot clean my brushes after every use. That is simply because I like to make sure there's no bacteria growing in my brushes while they're just sitting after they've been used, and also to get excess product out of them so that the brushes are at least kind of clean when I'm, applying a product. It's the same concept that I have with using a beauty blender. Like, I wash it before I use it. I don't just wet it and use it and then the next day wet it and use it again. Like, I wash it. I get all of the shit out, and that's because makeup and makeup tools can breed some pretty bad bacteria that can do some pretty bad shit to your face. So yeah, I haven't really gotten any use out of this, and honestly I don't think I will. And I think it might be something that ends up being decluttered because, yeah, I don't think I'm going to use it. Maybe if I was doing like a full face of cream products and I was traveling and I wanted to have like a minimal brush collection, it could be good. Like if I, you know, was using one brush to apply an eye primer and then that same brush to apply a colored product, like maybe then I would use it. But I don't really do my makeup that way, so there's that. Next item is an eyeshadow palette, and actually we're going to do a few eyeshadow palettes in a row because feelings. This one, Nars, it's the Stargaze palette, so this is from their holiday collection. I'm actually going to try to return this because it's not good. There are some really nice shades in there. Some of the mattes are good, some of them are shit, some of the shimmers are nice. Most of them need to be applied wet to actually look decent. I don't see myself reaching for this. And I paid like 90 bucks for it. And if I could choose, I would choose to have my money back and not own this palette. And it is actually a choice that I can make. I can return this. And I never return makeup. The only one time I ever returned a palette was actually for an exchange of the exact same palette, because when I received it, one of the eyeshadows was broken. So I just took it back to the store and I showed them and they were like, go grab a new palette, we'll double check that it's all good for you, and there's that. But otherwise, I don't return makeup. I kind of take it on the chin. But I think I'm going to return this and have a little bit of a different attitude towards it. I think if this was a really good quality palette and I was just not happy with like the purchase because I was like, oh, it's like, you know, I decided that I didn't really like the color story or something like that, I would cop it on the chin. But the quality of this is not good. This is not the Nars quality that I know and respect highly. It's something else, and it's not worth $90, and I would never recommend that you buy it. Another one is this Too Faced Born This Way Sunset Stripped palette. This is not as good as the original. It's just not. It's too late for me to return this. I am stuck with it. I may declutter it when I do my eyeshadow collection video. And it's, why does it smell funny? It smells like some sort of white flower. It smells like something a grandmother would wear or an old lady. I don't know. I love the color story, but the quality of the eyeshadows in here are not the same as the other Born This Way nude palette. And that's a shame. And look, I have a theory that palettes that have been coming out in recent years, there's an issue with like potentially ingredients, sourcing ingredients, and it is starting to show in the quality of the eyeshadows. So yeah, I'm taking a break from buying eyeshadow palettes. Something I bought very early in the year, or technically I bought it in December of 2021, but it arrived in January, was my Beautylish Lucky Bag. I love a Lucky Bag. I love the Beautylish Lucky Bag. I find it so fun. Beautylish stocks a lot of products that I really love, all that jazz. Probably going to buy it again this year because I find great joy in opening that up. One of the items in there was the Wayne Goss Luxury Eye Palette. This is in Color Story Imperial Topaz. Now, I have used this. I think I only used it once, and I like the quality, but the color story is not 100% my jam, and the fact that there's this giant black eyeshadow in there, which is good quality, don't get me wrong. I don't want anyone to think that this is bad quality. This, like, I don't need this. There is not a single moment in my life where this much black is ever going to be necessary. I have one single pan black eyeshadow, which is the most exceptionally pigmented pitch black super smooth, blendable, amazing eyeshadow that I've ever seen in my life. That's all I need. I don't need a black in an eyeshadow palette, especially not this big. I have small eyes. I don't wear black eyeshadow, like, ever. So I can see it being fine for some people, but these are my purchases and based on whether they were smart for me. While I didn't actively choose this, I chose to buy the lucky bag, so I'm including it as, you know, one of my purchases. I will say, while I was pulling these out, I was like, oh, maybe I should also be including the things that were in my advent calendar from last year, but I was like, it's getting a bit out of hand. Let's just include the lucky bag and leave the fucking advent calendar alone. Anyway, I would potentially purchase a Wayne Goss eyeshadow palette in the future. I know. I feel like I'm maybe being crazy saying this. The pans are too big. I'm not into it. But there is like one color story that he makes that I'm intrigued in. And look, I won't buy it. I won't, because I'll probably use it once or twice and then I'll be like, it's very nice, but also I'm never going to finish these. Like, this was not a smart thing to have in my collection, but also I didn't choose it. But it's still on the bottom of the list because I could totally have lived without it. Okay, next is a concealer. I had high hopes for this. It's the Kat Von D Lightweight Full Coverage Concealer. I have the shade Light 119. Now, I actually purchased this in store, so I got to swatch it with my own phalanges. And when I, like, swatched it and I was playing with the consistency, what I was looking for was a high coverage concealer that wasn't, like, super, like, slippy and wet, but also wasn't so matte that I was like, this is going to dry out my under eyes. And I felt like this one was like ticking all those boxes. However, once I put this on my under eyes, my God, it looks like crepey and heavy and just not nice. I don't like it, and this probably won't survive a declutter video, essentially. So yeah, there's that. Danessa Myricks Colour Fix. This is it's Colour Fix Glaze, so it's a long wear gloss for the eyes, lips, and cheeks. It's in the shade Biscotti. There we go. It's in the shade Biscotti. I never used it, guys. I never used it. I kind of tried to, like, think of ways that I would want to wear this. It is too concealer lip for me. It's not like, I'm not going to wear it as a glossy blush because I have long hair and it will stick to it. This is super, super sticky. I'm certainly not going to put that on my eyes. I would say that this would be so good for, like, if you're doing editorial photo shoots and stuff like that. When, you know, I actually used to do that. That was kind of fun for me, back in the day when I was a working makeup artist. And I had products like this in my collection, or in my makeup kit, and we would do fun stuff like this throughout photo shoots. We would use it on different areas of the face and body and experiment with color and stuff like that. But I just can't find a way of using this in my everyday life. Therefore, it's a fail product out of the Beautylish Lucky Bag, unfortunately. However, I will say, with this and the Wayne Goss item, although they're very low in my list and I consider them some of the worst items that came into my collection, I don't want you to get the vibe that that's because the quality is bad or anything. Like, I'll tell you when I think the quality is bad, like with the Nars palette and the Too Faced palette. It's just more that these things don't fit into the way that I like to wear my makeup and the types of products that I like to have in my collection. Purchasing them in the Lucky Bag was actually great for me because I get them at a discounted price. I quite actually enjoy the surprise of finding what's in the Lucky Bag, and it allows me the ability to test things out and try things out at a discounted rate without having a whole lot of guilt around it, because it also comes with the joy of, you know, the surprise. Let's move into a category of products where I don't regret any of the purchases. I just, like, I could have lived without them, for different reasons, which I'll get into with each individual product. But they're still good products, so just keep that in mind. I'm going to start with the Trilogy Rosehip Oil Antioxidant Plus. This is like, I love this product, okay? I've gone through multiple bottles of this. I will buy more in the future. I know I will. However, I am annoyed that I felt forced to purchase this. Now, I did a lot of traveling this year. My partner lives on the other side of the country. So, you know, we're both back and forth seeing each other. And what I learned was my skin hates flying, hates it with a burning, burning passion, and it punishes me every time I get on an aeroplane. I am left with the driest, most uncomfortable skin that I struggle to get moisture into. And the first time that I traveled to Perth, I didn't realize that my skin was going to do this, and I actually didn't bring things that were, I didn't bring an oil, essentially, and an oil is kind of an easy way for me to treat my skin on the regular and really like try and pump back some hydration into it while also soothing it, and this is kind of my go-to oil. So I didn't take an oil, and the whole time I'm there, I'm trying to like put it off, but my skin was getting worse and worse by the day, by the hour, by the second. And I was like, I just need to buy this. I need to go and buy it because I can't handle it anymore. And I was so annoyed because I knew at home I've got like, what, 5 or 6 unopened bottles of skin oil, like facial oil, in my stash, and I was just like, this sucks so bad. I did not need this because at home I already had so many, but it saved my skin, so there we go. I will never ever travel without a facial oil again in my life, even if I'm going just to the fucking supermarket. Next is my, like, everything from my Born Pretty haul. So as I mentioned, I did declutter the nail dip system. These guys I do not regret purchasing. I've got like a bunch of like color gels. They're like sparkly, like glitter gels for the nails, and then I've got like, you know, some sparkly top coats and matte top coats and stuff like that. I didn't have any of these types of products in my stash, so, you know, I'm not doubling up on stuff that I didn't own, or I'm not doubling up on stuff that I already owned, but I will say I could certainly have lived without these and potentially purchase them sometime next year to try out. I had a goal this year. Last year I did a declutter of my nail polish collection, and my goal was never overfill the drawer that it's in. Like, if I can't fit it in the drawer, I can't buy more nail products, and I broke that rule. So I may have to do like a nail polish declutter again before I move. Maybe I'll do that while I'm packing, but I would definitely say that I probably could have held off buying these. But I've been impressed with the quality. They last well on the nails. These are all gel products, so you cure them. They last really well on the nails. They're easy to remove. They look great. I've got no complaints about the quality of them, and I'm happy with that. But the purchase could have waited. Let's talk about perfumes. I didn't realize how many perfumes I purchased this year. Whoops. This is from Goldfields and Banks. Instagram made me buy it. I saw it just plastered all over Instagram. It's a Discovery sampler set. Here it is. I think it was like $50 or something. I think I did get like a little discount with it. I can't remember. But yeah, the ads made me buy it, and I don't even know if I've really used these very much. I think I've dug into like Sunset Hour. There's a little bit of use in that one, but it probably would have only been once. Something that I do like about this is they include the nail fragrance testing strips, which is great. So I love that, but yeah, I shouldn't have purchased this. I should have, because I shouldn't have purchased it because I already have enough fragrance and I was focusing on finishing some up and I haven't reached for it. So there's that. Same goes for these guys. These are from Summer Fridays. These are perfume oils. I believe I actually bought these very, very late in December of last year, but didn't talk about them until my January purchases. I do like these though. They are fragrance oils. They're in a rollerball and I fucking love the scents. Like, I'm no complaints about the scents. This was a limited edition holiday set, so I'm not completely upset that I purchased it. Like, I'm glad to have it. It's just that I still do have too many perfumes, so I never got around to using these significantly, which is a shame. Then I have this one. This is from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. I can never say the name. I can't say the name, I'm sorry. It's the Aqua Celestia Cologne Forte. I don't regret buying this. I just, again, like, when I bought this, I bought another fragrance, which I'm going to talk about later in the video. I just haven't really used it all that much. I love the fragrance and I am glad that I got it. In terms of like how much use have I got out of it this year since buying it? Minimal. Absolute minimal. Like, I probably used it less than 5 times. Moving on to some lipsticks. So I have one here from YSL. This is the Rouge Volupte Candy Glaze. It is in the shade 04. It's called Nude something. I can't remember. Maybe is it on my list? Nude Lingerie. Look, I really like this. I have used it, but I haven't used it much. When I was doing my lipstick, like, you know, testing out all of my lipsticks project, I was saying, have I bought a lipstick this year? I don't think I have, but I did. I actually ended up with 2 that came into my life via my own purchasing. This was one of them. The color is fantastic. When I wind it down, you can see how much I've used there. So it's not a lot, but it has had a little bit of use. I'm definitely like, I want to really focus on like not buying lipsticks next year because I feel like I'm starting to get a handle on my lipstick collection, and I think if I can just use what I have and not bring any more into my stash, I'm gonna make good progress. So I don't regret this. I love the formula. The color is perfect. I'll swatch it for you. It's super comfortable to wear, so like there's no issues there. I just know that this is an area of my makeup collection where I could have lived without it and potentially, you know, explored them further in the future. The next one is from Surat. It's a lip slick in Gamin. I don't know. I don't know. Oh god, these are non-retractable too. I need to remember that. This came in the Beautylish Lucky Bag, so not something that I would have purchased myself, but my god, this is a beautiful product. Great formula. The color is nice as well. I wouldn't, like, if I'd gone in store and swatched this, I wouldn't have picked it up, but because it's slightly sheer, my natural lip color gets to come through and it's pretty. Like, I really like it. So this is one of those things, never would have purchased it, got it in the Lucky Bag, and turns out I really, really love it. Again, not something that I needed in my collection though, and I think like when we start getting into the stuff that's sort of higher in like the best purchases of the year, you're going to see that those things were things that I was like, I either needed it or I've used it heaps. Next is my Visart palette. So this is the La Marais, is it the Étendue palette? I did a review of this recently. So obviously don't need more eyeshadow palettes. This is obvious. And I think the reason why I'm kind of like putting this a little bit lower in my list is because I thought these were the tiny pans, and they're not. They're like the medium-sized pans, and I'm so bummed. I wanted this to be like their tiny, tiny little edit palette. It's my mistake. I just didn't do enough research when I was purchasing it. But putting that aside, the quality of the eyeshadows is really nice. So I'm going to keep it. It's not going to be decluttered, but I learned a lesson buying this. And I will probably buy from Visart in the future, but I will not be buying their Etendu palettes. I will only be buying their mini edits. Okay, let's talk about some tools. I did bring some tools into my life this year, and some have rated higher than others. I'm going to start with this. This is from Surratt. It's an eyeshadow brush. It is the Artistique Classique Shadow Brush Petite. Okay, some things that I don't like about this straight off the bat. They have no weight in them. Like it's light as an absolute feather. Cost a bomb, like a small fortune. Does not have the brush number or name printed on it. These are all things that I do not like about brushes. It is natural hair brush. I can't remember what hair it is. I do like the shape of it, and I like the consistency of the hairs, like the density and the length and the size. I think that's all great. I have small eyes, so like it gives me precision. Love that. I really feel like luxury brushes like this should be weighted properly, because it makes them work better. And it feels more substantial in the hand, which I quite like. I would say that I could have lived without this brush. And a funny thing, like, Surratt is available at Mecca, but I've never like gravitated towards them, probably because when I see them, I'm like, they're ridiculously expensive, and I'd prefer to buy like, Hakuhodo, Sonia G, Chikuhodo, even like Refa or something like that. So it wasn't really on my radar. So I didn't even know that they felt like cheap. Like they feel like, when you go and buy, they're lighter than like a writing pencil. They're just really like, they feel cheap. They really do. So that's kind of disappointing for me. But like in terms of like the shape and all that jazz, I like it. Next is the Glam by Manicare Lash Tweezers. I love these. So I actually got a pair of these at the Beauty Prescription Live. Hang on, my dog's here. All right, she's come to visit. Big stretch. Someone's just had a nap. So I got a pair of these at the Beauty Prescription Live for Priceline, and I love them. They have taken pride of first place over like other lash tweezers that I really enjoyed. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I was doing a lot of traveling this year, and somehow I thought I had lost these. Turns out I didn't lose them. I think they were just very perfectly positioned in my makeup bag, that when I emptied it out, they didn't fall out. So I ended up going and buying a new pair. I think I got the new pair slightly like discounted. They were on sale, so I was kind of happy about that. And then I took them away with me to travel, and while I was traveling, I discovered that I had two pairs with me. So buying this pair of tweezers helped me to find my lost pair of tweezers. I am mostly disappointed about this purchase simply because I already had a pair and I didn't technically need two. I'm not upset that I have two, but that's a few bucks that I could have saved this year. Okay, these guys are being shown together. They are a different item, but they are pretty similar. So I have the Sonia G Soft Definer brush, which is beautifully weighted, even though it's still light. And I have the, Smith 233 brush, which is one of it's in their quill range. They're pretty similar. You can see the shapes there. I have quite a few brushes of this shape. All right. Now, I'm not mad that I have these at all. Both brands that I respect highly and I enjoy, and I own brushes from this brand and both of these brands, and I will buy more in the future. But did I need them? No. I have quite a few brushes of these shapes, so I probably could have held off to buy them. But even if I did hold off to buy them, I still wouldn't have needed them, because the brushes that I own that are similar to this are extremely high quality and they will actually last me my whole life. So, you know, there's that. There was probably never ever going to be a good time to justify buying these, but I bought them anyway. I don't regret owning them. I just wouldn't say that they were an exceptionally smart purchase. Next up are my Minu shampoo and conditioner maxi. So I love this shampoo and conditioner. It's my favorite from the Danessa range, next to the Oi shampoo and conditioner. I purchased these through Maybelline, which is like their, their salon size. And they do come with pumps. The pumps are inside. I've not opened these since I purchased them early in the year. I believe I received these in January, maybe late December, and just talked about them in January. Honestly, no regrets purchasing these, because if I didn't have these at the moment, I would be ordering them through Maybelline right now to take them with me when I move. So that's kind of my vibe about these at the moment. The purchase could have waited. I don't, no regrets. I'm taking these with me when I go to Perth. I will use them. They'll last me so long and it's fantastic. And then, when I run out of shampoo and conditioner, I'm totally going to call Maybelline and be like, yo, hook me up. I need more. I will either pick them up when I visit her in Melbourne, or I will have her ship them to me, whatever the situation is at the time. So I would say about these, no regrets, but the purchase could have waited literally until now. So almost a year since I purchased them. Next up are my foundations. So I did buy 2 foundations this year. I'm putting these together. They fit right in the same spot. No regrets about either of them, because they're beautiful foundations. I have the Vita Lumiere from Chanel here, the Radiant Moisture Rich Fluid. I have the shade number 7. I think this is beautiful. Super light coverage, lets the skin shine through, but it's also really hydrating, which I love. A little bit higher coverage is the Dior Air Flash. I have the shade 1N. I purchased these both. They were both like on a whim kind of thing. The Dior Air Flash, I've had it on my mind for quite some time that I wanted to purchase it. The Chanel, I actually went looking for a different foundation. They didn't have it, but I decided to buy something else instead, just because I fucking felt like buying a new foundation. I felt like buying a luxury foundation, and I don't regret it. The only reason why these don't sit higher up in this category is because I'm getting pretty close to like sorting my shit out with my foundation stash, and I probably could have waited like another 6 months to a year before bringing these into my collection. And if I had done that, it probably would have been at a time where I would have zero guilt about buying any foundation, because I would not have many. I'd be like, hey, look at me buying a foundation that I will actually probably finish in the next 12 months rather than having it sit in my collection for 5,000 years. I'm exaggerating, but you get where I'm kind of coming from. So these will definitely get used. But I probably could have held off on buying these, because neither of them are limited edition, nor are they difficult to find. Okay, this is something else that I did not need, and I have too many of this product, but it's limited edition, so I bought it. And they'll do another one next year, and I'll probably fucking buy that too. Pharmacy Holiday Party Green Clean Trio for 2022. So I bought one of these last year. I barely touched them. In fact, I don't think I've actively used them to like remove my makeup. I've only used them to like swatch and smell the scent. Same with these. Yep, it's a problem. I know. I really, really wanted them though. I found them on, first I found them on Cult Beauty for an absolutely exorbitant price, and I was like, I'm not buying them. I'm taking a stand. That's disgusting. And then I found them on Space NK for a much more reasonable price. Plus Space NK had, I think it was 15 or 20% off. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm buying them. And then I messaged all my friends and I was like, who wants one? Because your girl's doing an order. And both Madeline and Kat were like, yep, I want. So yeah, I don't regret buying these. This is a wonderful cleansing balm formula. I love it. I will eventually get through them. But yeah, I didn't need them. Okay, this here is a very random item that I purchased when I went to the Loom to see the Vincent van Gogh Loom thing, whatever. What do they call it? I feel like the word is right on the tip of my tongue and I can't think of it. Exhibition, thanks. So it's a glass nail file. Now, at the Loom, you're allowed to drink. They have like a cafe where you can drink and eat, and I went with friends and we drank and we ate and really enjoyed it. And then when we were leaving to go to a lunch, a boozy lunch, we went through the gift shop, obviously, and I can't resist something. I really enjoyed the Loom. I thought it was fantastic. So I was like, I want to buy something to, you know, remember my time here. They had a glass nail file and I was like, you know what? I love glass nail files. I have a glass nail file. Mine is broken and it's still usable, but it's broken. So I bought it and I don't think it was a bad purchase for me. It's fine. It works very well. If I manage to get through my life without breaking it, it will last me a hell of a long time. So I think this was a good purchase for me, just fine. So the Loom file has kicked off where we get into the purchases that I feel really good about this year. Next up is the C&D Plexi Gel system. So I bought a Bonder, which is like the base coat, and then I bought the Shaper and the Builder. So this is basically a soak off gel system. I recently cut off my nails because I'm moving pretty much, and I'd had some like casualties in recent months while I've been very busy with my hands, and I was like, look, it's never going to get better. Can you not do that, please? Just digging my carpet. You're so rude. Like, it's not going to get better. I'm really kind of time poor. I don't really have time to manage my nails at the moment, so it's better if I just cut them off and make them short, and I'll grow them again next year. I can fucking make a little hobby out of it. Fun. So I picked these up at a beauty trade store where I usually go to buy my usual brand of gel, like enhancement gel. And I saw these and I was like, you know what? I'm really, I've got dog hair on my face. Sorry guys. I use this type of product on the regular. I just use a different brand. Those bottles are, you know, nearing the end of their life. I'm gonna try another like well-known brand. I tried some discount brands last year. Wasn't a fan. They've all been decluttered as far as I can recall. This one is not being decluttered. This is a really fantastic option as well. I really enjoy it. So the Bonder is the base coat. The Builder is a little bit stronger, and if you want to like build a fake nail, so if you have short nails and you want to make them long, then you would use this using forms or like over the tops of tips or whatever. And the Shaper is for people who just want to use it as an overlay on their natural nail, whether they be long or short. Now, I wanted to see if there was any great difference in these. I would say there's not. The difference is probably negligible. There's a good chance this is like the same product. Maybe the Shaper is a little bit softer than the builder. But for me, they've pretty much been interchangeable, and I've used them a lot throughout the year, and I don't regret purchasing those at all. And I look forward to, like, when my stash of these gets low, I'm gonna go and explore another you know, brand that does these. Next up, I have a little holiday pack that I purchased from Herbivore. So this contains the Pink Cloud Creamy Jelly Cleanser and the Soft Moisture Cream. Now, I purchased these from Cult Beauty, and the reason why I purchased them was because I was in need of hyaluronic acid, and I still am in need of hyaluronic acid. Like, I'm really, really low. And I wanted to try the one from Herbivore, and I was looking to see if they had like a holiday pack that contained it, and they didn't. But they did have this, and I was like, okay, well, I kind of need to, like, well, I don't need to, but I wanted to hit the free shipping cap, so I purchased this. I would say half of this is a smart purchase, half is not. The cleanser is an absolutely fine purchase for me. I actually do not have many face cleansers on the go, and my like backup stash of unopened face cleansers doesn't exist. So I am okay with face cleansers. I can buy face cleansers and not feel bad about it. As long as my goal is to just not have more than like a year's worth of something in my stash for the most part. So face cleanser, just fine. Now the moisturizer, look, I have plenty of moisturizer. Plenty. But this is just a mini one. It's 30 ml, so it wouldn't take all that long to go through. I would say, look, maybe there's like a month and a half to 2 months worth of moisturizer in there. Oh, okay. I like that. I'm looking forward to using it, but I'm also focusing on using up the ones that I currently have open, because I will open new things after I've moved. Essentially, that's kind of my goal at the moment. This would have been absolutely ideal if it was a cleanser and a hyaluronic acid, but it's a cleanser and a moisturizer, so there we go. Next up is something else that came out of my Beautylish Lucky Bag. It is the Good Molecules Rose Water Daily Cleansing Gel, and the reason why this is so high up in this or in the ranking is because, one, I really like the product, and two, I've almost gone halfway through it this year alone, which is fantastic. This is really nice. I would consider buying it again in the future. I'd be more likely to buy something new to try out. Obviously, there are so many brands making so many products that I'm interested in. I just try not to buy them because trying not to, you know, consume too much. I'm trying to just buy things as I need them and as I know I will use them. But if I was in need of an affordable face cleanser that I knew and trusted, I would buy this again in a heartbeat. I've really enjoyed it. It's been very effective for me. Not too drying, but also like effective at getting off like anything you missed with your makeup remover, which is great. So that one I really enjoy. Next is lash glue. A very boring purchase, I know, but I was all out of lash glue, so I went ahead and I purchased one of my old favorites. I bought 2 of these. It's the D-Up Eyelash Fixer EX, and I bought the clear version. So I bought 2 of them so I could have one here in my filming space and one in my bedroom where I just do my day-to-day makeup, and I don't regret that purchase at all. It was fine, smart purchase, didn't have any of this product, needed eyelash glue, and I bought an old favorite that I know and trust. Next up is a product from K18. It is the Leave-In Molecular Repair Hair Mask. I have used this in the past and I fucking loved it. And I was, look, you guys, you can tell my hair is bleached. It's bleached, okay? I've had crazy hair. Not crazy hair. I've had fun fucking hair for the last few years, and you know, with that does come damage, obviously. And if you want it to be soft and silky and tangle free and shiny, then you have to invest in looking after the hair, and that comes with good quality products that work for you to target your own like hair issues, and also time investment. Now for me, since I had already tried this product, I knew what it did, I knew that I got good results from it, I opted to buy it. It's not cheap, but it works and it's fantastic. Do not regret this. I use it like as I need it essentially, but it has had quite a bit of use since I purchased it, and it will certainly get finished in the future, and my hair thanks me for it. So this was a smart purchase. Another thing that I purchased, and look, this is not them. I can't remember like which ones I purchased this year, but they are slip scrunchies. Now I got a single one in the Beautylish Lucky Bag, and I'm pretty sure that was like a bronzy brown color with polka dots on it, or like leopard print style. Not something I would buy, but I love slip scrunchie. Or not a style I would buy, but I love slip scrunchies, so no regrets there. And then I'm pretty sure I bought like a little box of them. And I don't regret it at all. Whenever I talk about slip scrunchies, people are like, oh, what is like, why are they so good? I don't know. They just are, okay? Like, I just love them. They're my favorite type. Yes, they're expensive. They do last really well. Some here, I would say these two potentially were out of the pack that I purchased this year. This is one that I've had for ages, like probably 2 or 3 years, and it's starting to stretch out. This one I'm pretty sure is actually a knockoff from Aldi, so let's just put that aside. But they last really well and my hair loves them, so I don't feel guilty buying them. And usually I try to buy them when there's like, you're getting some sort of like small discount on them, whether it be a pack where it works out that you're getting like 1 for free or something like that. Like I don't mind paying for good quality items that last me years, especially when it comes to my hair or my skin or things like that. Someone else who loves these is my dog, and I think she's destroyed 2 so far. So okay, moving into my final group of products. These are all things that I have 0 fucking regrets about. Eyelure Luxe Solitaire Lashes. These are my absolute favorite eyelashes. They're not the ones I'm wearing today though. The irony. So I have actually been looking for these for about 2 years in store, and I can never find them anywhere. And I eventually got to the point where I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna buy them on Amazon. So I bought 6 pair, sent me back like a pretty little penny, but these are just so perfect for my eye shape and my eye size. What I like to do is cut 1 pair in half and then wear them as a demi lash. So 1 box gets me essentially 2 pairs of lashes, and obviously you wear the lashes more than like once. I am pretty sure I have 4 unopened boxes, and I've opened 2 boxes this year. This is the kind of thing, it doesn't go bad, so I don't mind buying a whole bunch in bulk and just having them. They'll probably last me another like probably 2 years, maybe a bit longer, based on, you know, how often I wear them and care and all that jazz. So definitely not a bad purchase for me. Really like them, and I would buy them again in the future. I would love to be able to find them in a Priceline store on sale though. I'm just gonna put that out there. Next I have Rapid Lash. I love this stuff. It's so good. It's basically an eyelash enhancing serum. It helps your eyelashes to grow longer because they like drop out of your lash bed slower, essentially. It's good for lash retention. It's also good for eyebrow retention as well. I have had this in the past and went through a tube of it, and ever since having it I was like, oh, really like love that product. It was fantastic, should buy it again. And then like gradually things would come into my life that were meant to be the equivalent of this, but they were never as good. So I was like, oh well, when I finish up this one, I'll go and buy one of them. And it just never happened. I kind of always had some hanging around. So in the end I was like, I'm decluttering all the rest and I'm buying Rapid Lash, and that's it. End of the story. Okay, let's talk about some more brushes. So this one here is from Sonia G. It's the Designer Pro. This came in my Beautylish Lucky Bag and I love it. It is fantastic. It's got a lot of use out of me this year. So this is like a wide but slightly flat brush. I like to use it for blush and highlight, small areas, allows you to, like, you know, keep product contained, which is really nice, and also good for setting under the eyes. Really enjoy this. Sonia G quality, top notch. I can never regret having Sonia G brushes in my stash. Did I need it? No, of course not. Have you seen my brush collection? But I can't be mad that I own it. Next up I have the Surat, what is this called again? Just write the brush name on it, you know. This is the Artistic Smoky Eye Brush Grand. It's meant to be a big eye brush. Not for me, it's not. It is literally the size of my whole eye. I use this to set under my eyes. This tip, man, it's so good for like getting in here and like just setting stuff, like, oh, it's just so good. Also would be good for highlight. I've never used it for highlight. I just use it for setting under my eyes. And this was ridiculously expensive, but I love it. And it's a fairly unique cut to my collection as well. So I would say I certainly could have lived without it, but I enjoy living with it more. Next is a palette. I'm not sure if you are surprised that there is a palette this high up in my collection. This is actually like the third item on my list. I've got 2 more to go. It's a Natasha Denona Glam Face Palette. I have the light version. I just really love this. Mostly for the eyeshadows. Oh God. I love it. I have traveled with this pretty much all year since I purchased it. The highlighter is stunning. The blush is gorgeous. I will say the blush is a bit stiff. It's that like cream to sort of powder formula, and it is a bit stiff. I would definitely say that potentially a powder would have been better. But I mean, it still works, so I don't complain too much. But the highlighter is like astronomically gorgeous, and the eyeshadows are so good. These like metallic shades are just, oh God, the way they like go on the eye and the light reflection, just so fucking pretty. Wait, which one was it? There we go. Yeah, I love this palette. It's had quite a bit of use this year, so while I would certainly go back to the start of the video and say I never needed to buy any sort of palette item because I have plenty, this one has actually been used a lot and I have enjoyed it every single time I've used it. Yes, it is a boring basic palette. I like boring basic makeup these days. I prefer it. It's what I like. I don't really find a whole lot of joy in wearing like colourful eyeshadows these days. It is what it is. I like a more muted, simple look. So this is right up my alley and I've loved it. Moving on to this. This is the Sunflower Pop fragrance from Floral Street. This is also Vincent van Gogh inspired, which is cool. So this is one of the perfumes that I purchased this year, and this is the one that has had the most use. I have traveled with this ever since I purchased it, and my God, I love it. It is so beautiful. It's like passion fruit, fresh, crisp, kind of tangy. I love it so much. I don't have a single ounce of regret for purchasing this, even though I know I've got plenty of perfume, didn't need to buy more. I bought a whole bunch this year that I didn't even freaking get around to using. This is the one that I have used the most and I adore it. And my last product is boring as hell. It's been on the market for ages, but it is exactly what I wanted and needed. It is the Charlotte Tilbury Brow Fix Clear Brow Gel. So I was getting to the point in my collection where I didn't have any clear brow gels. I had one that I didn't like, and it's the Milk makeup one. It just didn't offer enough hold for me. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do one of two things. I'm going to go and buy the Benefit one. I can't remember what it's called. I'm either going to buy that because I know I love it and I used it for a very long time, or I'm going to try something new. And I thought, you know what? You're always talking about getting to this point where your collection is manageable enough for myself to go out and buy new things and try new things. So go and do that, because you've done the hard work and you've got there with like a couple of sections of your collection. Now is the time to reap my rewards, essentially. So I bought this, and holy moly, I love it. I was really worried that this wouldn't offer enough hold for me, but it does. And actually I've not put on a clear brow gel today, so I'm going to do it right now. I will say, I think one of the only things that I don't love about this product is I think the wand is too big for me. I have pretty thin brows. Yeah, I went through the 90s. You can tell. I'm really happy with this purchase. It's kind of my proud purchase of the year. To me, it represents the years of hard work when it comes to minimizing my collection, but doing it mindfully and you know, trying not to go backwards. So I'm pleased with myself. It's my little gold medal. So that's it, guys. That is ranking my 2022 beauty purchases. I hope to do even better next year, but I am actually I'm pretty proud of myself and what I've done this year. But you know, I'm going to keep working on it next year as well. I'm going to add some new goals to, you know, my beauty collection. Now I'm going to, like, you know, keep whittling it down, and also I'm gonna do like a low buy of some description, but we'll talk about that in January, I think. So feel free to let me know down in the comments what your worst and best purchases of the year were, whether it was based on, you know, your personal circumstances like mine were, or if you're talking more about, like, you know, quality of product. I'm very interested to know what your best and worst were. And with that, I'm gonna leave it there, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.